Here's a little meditation that comes at the end of this chapter. You look at something in your life that's problematic, that's causing you a problem, and that you're not dealing with, but it's really problematic. It could be materially or spiritually. Of course, here we're talking about something Krishna conscious, so I would suggest taking something in your Krishna conscious life that you're not doing or doing that's a problem. Problem that I don't do this, or a problem that I do this. And look at it and ask yourself the question, why am I doing that? Like what's going on here? And I know it's not good and I keep doing it. So let's talk about it. It's like if you have a relationship with someone and it's not going well. If you want to heal the relationship, you have to talk about it. And perhaps it's not going well for a few months and one of the partners says, look, we really need to talk about this because there's some tension here or misunderstanding, or I can feel the relationship is it's not working well as it used to be. We need to talk about what's going on. And a lot of times that's all that needs to be done. You just talk about it and it resolves the problem. So similarly, we have a relationship with ourselves, and if something is not going well, sometimes we really need to talk to ourselves and say, okay, well, what are you going to do about this? Or why are you allowing this to go on? And what's causing it, and what can be done? And one of the things that really serves as an impetus to do this is just to ask the other question, well, if I don't do anything, where is that going to take me? And if the problem is big, or the problem is toxic for you, just to have to live with yourself with this problem, then when you take it to the future, you see this is going nowhere. And I don't want to be living in a future with this problem. I want to be living in a future without this problem. And so then what you do is you imagine to yourself and say, well, how would my life be different? How would my future be different if I didn't have this problem? And if the problem is big, then when you look at that, you realize, and you also feel, it's like, that would be amazing if I didn't have this problem, if this was just not there. Of course, you might be asking now, well, can it just not be there? That's another discussion. First, we just have to do this. And so now, when you do this, you get a little bit of a inspiration. Oh, this would be good. The other thing that this brings us to is that, okay, maybe it's going to be difficult. It's always difficult to change, move out of your mold, a new way of thinking, a new way of acting. That's going to be hard. But the point is, it's already hard that I'm not doing that because I don't want the results, and the results aren't good. And how long will I continue doing this? Well, it's possible we could continue not changing our whole life, because that's normally how humans are. They just stay the same. And it's more comfortable to not change, even though when I don't change, it's really more uncomfortable. So we have to look at things this way, and then we have to finally get ourselves to the point where we can say, okay, this is important, I want to do something about this. Because that's, you ask, how can I change? If we don't come to this point, we can't change, because there's got to be a reason to change. There's got to be impetus. So we come to this point, we look at everything and say, how is this hurting me? Why is it hurting me? What's the result of it? What will my life be if I healed this? How would things be better and different? And that starts to make sense to you. And then the last thing, yes, if I continue doing this, you're really going to be more painful than if I change. Now you're at this point, hopefully, where you're inspired to do something. You're willing to suffer a little bit, but it's like the mode of goodness. You suffer a little bit, but the result is great. And once you learn to do this, what's so important about it is you do it with every one of your problems. You just sit back and say, I don't want to go through a situation like this. I haven't read Prabhupada's books in months. My rounds have been bad for years. I haven't got up early in so long. And whatever the problem is, or just a little thing that you want to tweak, you're having difficulty tweaking, refining, you finally deal with it. You have a way to deal with it, and then you have a way to solve it, because it doesn't matter if I tell you how to solve it. The main thing is you have to want to do it, and when you want to do it, Krishna will guide you how to solve it, or some book will land up in your lap, or you'll see some YouTube video, or some devotee will say, watch this. And it's exactly what you need, because now you're ready. When the disciple's ready, the guru shows up. So that's the most important thing, to get yourself to just reflect and say, hey, I need to talk to myself about this. I'm doing this. This isn't good. let's stand back and maybe journal about it, or just discuss with another friend, this is what I do, so I want to change, and the friend can be a sounding board. Very, very important, but it's so simple. It's just often we let things go downhill. We don't do anything about it, and they just keep going down. And we're the ones who suffer when we could be better and we could change if we just made a little effort to talk to ourselves about it. Make an appointment with yourself. You are your own counselor and coach and therapist. Make an appointment with your internal therapist and coach to talk about something that needs to be improved or something that needs to be given up. Just try it. If it doesn't work, you're no worse off than you were yesterday. And if it does work, your whole life is going to be a lot better. Hare Krishna.